What's up YouTube, QuantumLight62 here, for the first time in a tag video. First things first, I want to thank Dave Azoth for the tag. You know, if I can't thank you enough. If it wasn't for you, then I wouldn't have been given this rare opportunity. So I thank you, and I really appreciate it. I just can't thank you enough. For those of you who don't know who he is, I suggest you check him out. I highly suggest you do. I'll leave the link for his channel down below in the description box. Dave Azoth tagged me, and therefore I should be answering these 7 questions for you guys, and I'm more than happy to do it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, first questions first is, what is your first name? My first name is Jose, or Jesus, whichever one of the two. Like, I'm always being called one or the other, so because they sound so similar, so I really don't mind whichever one is being I'm referred to. So it's really up to you, like, you know, however you want it to be. Also, my last name, while I will not give it away, what I can say is that you might as well open up the history books, because my last name is named after a famous war in Mexico. So to get you guys studying, I'm gonna leave that to you guys. Okay, question 2. How did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, I got into it back when I was I'm 22 right now. I got into it when I was in 4th grade. I was like maybe 10, 11 years old, I want to say. My next door neighbor, who's also one of my closest friends, he doesn't live right next to me anymore, but you know, back then when we were still playing in the game, we were just giving up on Pokemon. We gave up on Digimon. We were moving on to other things, and Yu-Gi-Oh just came to our way. And he got the Yugi starter deck, or structure deck, whichever one of the two, and then I ended up getting the Kaiba deck. And little by little, we got everybody in our entire block to be into the game, and you know, it was fun. We had our own little tournaments. We traded, and we didn't even know how to play the game. You know, back then nobody knew how to play the game. Like, anyone who was into it didn't know the rules, didn't play by life points. We just played by deck out, and that's what we did. We just played by deck out. And so from then on, like, the game became a big part of our lives. Like, we balanced out sports, we balanced out the game as well, and you know, until eventually we just stopped playing altogether. But years later, when I was like around 18 years old, like, I started picking it up as a hobby again, thanks to my friend Thunderdrake, who I featured on my channel more than once, you know, a couple times, and he's the reason why I got back into the game. So it started to be memories, like, you know, the memories started flowing back, and I remembered how much fun I used to have just by playing the game. Alright, next question is how / or why you start Yugitubing. Well, see, here's the thing. When I was still looking up deck profiles on how to make my decks a lot better, one Yugituber in particular I found myself watching the most was Galactic God. There was a second one that I was watching regularly every now and then. I found myself watching him, which was Cyber Knight. Like, he came in a close second, but it was Galactic God that I saw, more. Like, you know, because I was looking up deck profiles for anything, basically anything, even deck and card discussions, and the two of them, they seem to be, like, you know, the most informative to me. I guess they kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration I needed to, you know, want to do that. But what really nailed it to the coffin was me and Dave Azoth's mutual friend, Yakima Fujikawa. Like, he was an old Yugituber from way back in the day, probably like maybe one of the first Yugitubers, I want to say. And I found out about his channel and I checked it out, and what disappointed me a little bit was that he was no longer uploading. So I wanted to, you know, continue where he left off, in a way. That's how I like to see myself, like, continuing from where he left off, despite the fact that I don't think he's uploaded anything since this past summer. So with his busy schedule, I wanted to, you know, like I said, continue from right there. And I asked him, like, you think I'd be able to do something like this? And he said, yeah, go for it. Like, if that's what you want to do, then go right ahead. However, unlike many other YouTubers, although they are kind of doing this as well, but I wanted to do this regularly, which was discussing stuff that normally you're never really discussing. You know, there are some archetypes that need to be recognized that seem to be, you know, like in the rogue gallery. They're rogue decks, and that's what I like to favor. I favor rogue decks, and I want to, you know, see them get a little bit more popularity. Like, eventually the meta gets kind of boring and you want to see something else. You want to, you know, that's how you get introduced to something new, and you want to learn more about it. And I like to, you know, speak my mind when it comes down to that. Next question. What is the best time you had in events? Well, not counting locals, I guess the best time I've had, which was the only time I had, was YCS Chicago, which I went to this past weekend with Giacomo and as well as another friend. It was my first time going to YCS, and I loved it. Like it was just so much fun. Like I met so many people. I sold a couple cards, made some cash. I saw Vexicus. I saw MCO40. I met MCO40. Like hell, I even traded with him, and the whole experience as a whole, I can't really count the many, the best times I've had throughout the entire day. Like that whole day, I count it as a whole. So that whole day was a really big experience, and I consider that the best time I've had. I was hanging out with friends. That's the one thing. With that experience alone, I was just I was in the side events. Therefore, I was in the Winamat, as well as Attack of the Giant card. Winamat, 0 to 2 against Mermails. Second match. First match I did okay. It was 2-0. And then Attack of the Giant card that was canceled, unfortunately. So I'll never get that opportunity again. But at the same time, it's fun. It was fun the whole time. It was fun, and I loved it. I loved the experience. But according to Giacomo, ASIN is bigger than that, so I got that to look forward to. Next question. What is your favorite deck? There's really no question about it. It's Photon Galaxy, main rivals of the show. Starting off with the original series, it was Kaiba. I was out of the game from GX, so I never got to know Chaz until I got to see GX this past winter, and he's no different than Kaiba, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Jack Atlas, like he was pretty cool, and like I loved 5Ds, I really do. But the reason is because I think he still held the same mentality as the rivals do. Just like Kaiba and Chaz, like I don't care what anybody says, like Zane is not the main rival in GX, it's Chaz. No matter what, it's Chaz. That leads me to my main character, my favorite character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal, which is Kaito Tenjo, like the Galaxy Eyes guy. Watching the way he duels and bringing out Galaxy Eyes, it was like Blue Eyes White Dragon all over again. It was like a way better Kaiba, and this is the reason why. Kaiba is, if you really think about it, Kaiba and Chaz, they're not rivals. They're just butthurt. They're just butthurt. Like Jack, I think he set the trend for, I will be your friend, but I still consider you a rival. That's how I see it, especially in the same as Kaito. So let me compare these two real quick. Like Kaiba and Kaito, like Kaiba was brought up by a stepfather who was abusive towards him. Therefore, in turn, he's abusive to everybody else. And I know, like, people are saying that, oh, he's troubled, he's tortured because of that. Like, yeah, but, when somebody is like that to you, you grow up to be better than them. Kaito, on the other hand, like, he didn't have an abusive stepfather. His biological father just made him do things. Therefore, Kaito had no choice but to be that way. And once it was all said and done, like, that was it. Like, he felt calm, he was cool and everything. Whereas Kaiba is he's just a butthurt prick, I'm not even going to compare the little brothers right here, like, Mokuba and Haruto. There's no comparison. I'm not even going to go there. Moving on to the deck itself, you guys already know my favorite character in the anime. The deck, the reason why I like it so much is because it's what the Blue Eyes deck was always supposed to be to me. Like Galaxy Eyes was Blue Eyes, but with the effect that it desperately needed. I know Blue Eyes has its own stuff now, but this is before all that was introduced. When I first saw Galaxy Eyes, like, I loved the card. Like it looked beautiful. It had great attack points. It had a great effect. I got it from a friend, actually. My first copy, I was aiming to get it myself, but one of my friends, he got it from me instead. Then I had a deck that could bring him out easily. It was I called it a destroyer deck. It all revolved around, destroying the field. Like, it mainly just destroyed monsters, but the monsters that I was running had high attack, like 2,000 or more attack. That's the requirement you need in order to bring them out. Goblin attack force, giant orc, things like that. So yeah, Galaxy Eyes was really easy for me to summon in that deck. What made me want to run the deck as a whole was a card called Photon Cerberus. Me, my brothers, and some of their friends, we went to Target, we went to our local Target, and we bought a couple packs of Photon Shockwave. One of the cards that I pulled was number 24, Illuminite. The rare in that pack that I pulled was Photon Cerberus. And I looked at it and I'm thinking like, hey, this is a pretty good effect. Because it's Photon Cerberus, for those of you who don't know, it's a trap preventer or a trap negator. So I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking that maybe I should just splash it in my deck, see where things go. So on that duel that was facing one of my friends who came over that night, his entire back row full. Magic Cylinder, Bottomless, Torrential, Mirror Force, like you name it. And I had nothing in my hand and nothing on my field. All he needed was one more turn and that would have been it for me. Just as I draw, it's literally Heart of the Cards because the card I draw is none other than Photon Cerberus. I summon him, and you know my friend, he tries to activate something, and I'm like, no, there's no trap cards can be activated. I attacked for game. I had 600 life points and he had 1,200. That was it. After that day, I looked at Photon Cerberus and looked at my dragon, and the rest is history. This is the deck that I will never give up on. Like, this is my deck. This is my heart and soul. Next question is, why do you play? I play, for the obvious reason, because it's a fun game. I think Galactic God said it best when he was asked this question. He says that, even like in the anime, the game is like, it's about friendship, and it brings people together, and that's what it did with in the case of me. It brought me closer to Thunder Drake. It brought me closer to Yakumo, and because of that, I ended up getting 3 mentors for the price of 1. My neighbor was my first mentor who taught me how to play the game. Thunder Drake taught me how to replay the game, and Yakumo taught me how to excel in the game. So yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Galactic God. The game brings friends together. Alright guys, let's wrap up the video with the last question, and that is, who do I tag? It wasn't easy. I had to think about it for 2 days. I had to find 2 people, 2 Yugitubers for me to tag, and again, it wasn't easy. So I had to go to my videos, check the comment sections, and I found 2 people that I knew would be perfect for me to tag. First guy I'm tagging is Sano Jano. The reason I'm tagging him is because he's like me. We're faithful and loyal to one deck. Like in the case of me, it's Photon Galaxy. In the case of him, is Spirits. I saw his channel. I checked it out. He's I'm gonna call him the Spirit guy, But in all seriousness, I've checked his content. It's really good. Like, he seems to be, enjoying what he does. He's having fun with it. He's really informative. It's really good when you see somebody, go really deep into the depths of their favorite deck. In the case of Spirits, like, there's so much that you don't know of, and he wants to cover all of it. Props to you, man. Props to you. Sano Jano, if you're watching this, tag, you're it. Oh, and also thanks for the praise for my Spirit deck profile. Like, I'm still working on it as well, so expect a deck profile of it sometime soon. Second guy I want to tag is Zachary Roy. Now, this is my way of saying thank you for your suggestions for my MTGR deck profile. If it wasn't for you, Zach, then I wouldn't have taken it to YCS Chicago. I wouldn't have, used it in the side events. I wouldn't have had fun either. So yeah, this is my way of saying thanks. So Zachary Roy, I'm tagging you next. The reason I'm tagging Zachary is because I think he deserves some subscribers as well. Because I've seen his videos, his bandless discussion video. Like, it was pretty good. Like, he's being really informative. He's trying really hard to get his point across, and I feel that everybody else should hear his voice. Like, we should all hear his thoughts. We should hear him out. The same way that we do with everyone else. Alright guys, you're up. Well guys, that's my tag video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, as well as check out the 3 Yugitubers that I pointed out right there in the disclaimer box down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This is QuantumLight62's tag video, and it's lights out.